My name is Reverend Dr. Renee McKenzie. I am the Vicar of the Church of the Advocate in the Diocese of Pennsylvania, and I am a 2017 ECF Fellow. When I started at the Advocate about 5 years ago, I was immediately impacted by the amount of trauma that I saw in the community, that our community was experiencing. And so I thought of how I might be able to help my church specifically deal with some of this trauma that I see in the community as well as in the congregation. And then I realized that also could be a larger model for the church. And so when I was awarded this ECF Fellowship, that gave me the opportunity to try to do both. I know that one of the things that we're interested in as a church is increasing our ministry among in the African American community, as well as growing leaders from this community, church leaders from this community. And also because I think that the church is very interested in social justice. And I think that we see that as a primary mandate, which stems from our baptismal covenant. And I think that the work that we're trying to do with this trauma-informed ministry is a way for us to live out our baptismal covenant. Because the truth is, when we look around in society, we look at African American communities, especially in the urban environment, we'll see that there is a lot of injustice that has certainly conditioned and shaped this community. And so how can we correct that? Especially in 2017 with the Black Lives Matter movement and just this resurgence of this undercurrent, which is not so undercurrent anymore, about white supremacy and that ideology. And so I think that the Episcopal Church in particular, that's something that we would like to address. Not only the affirmation of the ECF Fellows program did I receive, but at the same time I received a fellowship. And so for an example, when I go to Temple University, which is right there near the Advocate, and I told them, I showed them the announcement that I was an ECF Fellow, they were immediately impressed. And so I've gotten things like full access to the library off campus. Which things that I would not have been able to do before. I found partners at Temple University that are interested in doing this kind of work. So that was the entry point. I think that's really valuable. But I have to say the $15,000 grant is outstanding too, because now I can actually begin the work at the Advocate. And so most of that's going to be seed money to use to make this work happen. And then also I can leverage that to other foundations and other potential donors to this work and find more work so we can continue. So I think that this fellowship has set us off on a good stage. So we're ready to move forward. My vision for the future of the church is that the church will become a community that's really representative of society and not in an unbalanced way as we see to a large extent today. Representative also in how other cultures actually inform the culture of the church, so that we're not just speaking out of one particular culture, but it'll become normative for us to infuse all these cultures somehow. Now, I don't know how to do that and what that would even look like, but I think that's part of the holy experiment. How can we create a church that really represents all of us? Right now, we have a church that receives all of us, or receives most of us. And for me, I think that's extraordinary. But having a church that really represents who we are in terms of what we bring in terms of culture, I think that would be my vision for the church.